Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, visiting East Coast Honda, and I'm checking out a 2022 Honda Odyssey in the EXL trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 235/60 Bridgestone tires, wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Lunar Silver Metallic. The sun is shining, so you can get an idea of what it looks like, hopefully. It's a pretty standard silver color. You can see this in other brands as well, very similar. So looking at the front here, it has this large chrome piece across the top, so it kind of extends from one side to the other. And then the grille here is a gloss black on the raised portions, and then the sunken in portions are a flat black. There's flat black down here at the very bottom. Now you can see that flat black extends here on the side little portion here, and then it goes around the fog lights and the turn signal indicators. Now the Honda emblem also serves as the adaptive cruise control radar sensor behind the emblem. The headlights, daytime running lights, and fog lights are all LED. So it's a multi-reflector headlight system for your low and your high beams, as well as your fog lights in a reflector housing. The turn signals, however, are a standard bulb. Looking at the profile, you can see that flat black plastic is here on the sides as well, here on the very bottom. And the flat black pillars here. So the pillars are a flat black, and you do have the privacy glass here in the back windows. And if you were to tint all the glass here, the intention is for this to solidify and be this long piece of glass, but since they put flat black pillars, it kind of breaks it up and takes away from that effect. If they were to have gloss black pillars, I think that would be better. Now the entire glass area is underlined by a chrome strip here, which is not found on the very top. Now the side mirror is a body color, but the handles are chrome for some reason, so they kind of stand out. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key system, and it's designed to where you can just keep it in your pocket and use the vehicle 100%. But it does have useful buttons. It has a physical key on the inside as well, but the buttons here, lock, unlock, the ability to open up both side doors, the sliding doors, so it even shows you which side is which, and then remote start, and then the ability to open up the power lift gate. There's also a panic button here. Let's go ahead and push that. So it just beeps the horn and flashes the lights. And as long as you have this key with you, it can be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity to the outside of either the driver or the passenger side door. You can lock the door by pushing this button. It'll go ahead and lock the vehicle. To unlock it, you simply put your hand behind the handle. There's a sensor back here. It senses the key on the outside of the door and your hand position, and allows you access to the vehicle. Now you can put in your settings to where if you want just this door or all the doors to unlock when you approach and touch the handle. So that way you don't have all of the doors unlock all the time. It might be a safety issue. Also, the key has I don't know if you can see this, on the back of the key, it actually says driver 2. And it'll come with 2 keys. So you have driver 1 and driver 2, and it will associate the key with your personal settings like seat position, things like that when you get in the vehicle. It's a really good feature. Now, if you bring both keys with you, then it will prioritize 1 over 2. Here's the inside of the passenger side door. Now, on the window sticker, the interior color is officially called mocha. And so you can hopefully see possibly a difference here between this color and this color. So this is kind of like a gray to my eyes, and maybe it could be intended to be black, but it looks gray to me. And then this looks like a desaturated brown, and that's the mocha color. When you see it in the sunlight, it's a little bit better, but I'll show you that in just a minute. Soft touch surfaces are here and here. The rest of the door, here and here, all this is a hard touch surface. Now, it does have a puddle light here at the very bottom. It's just a very dim halogen bulb there, but it does have one. And there's an indicator for your blind spot systems here in the pillar as opposed to in the side mirror. So the door layout is really useful. It has this handle, but it's also enclosed, so you can utilize it as a pocket. There's a smaller pocket here. There's a little shelf down in here, and a little storage area here and here. So you could put a bottle. It's like a cup holder there, and just a general open space to put some stuff. And then you have a larger area back here, down here. Now, the only issue I have with all these pockets in the door, you notice there's a big speaker here, and you notice the bottom of these pockets are hard touch surfaces. So once you load up stuff in these pockets, in these shelves, in these storage areas, if there's anything in there like a coin or anything that can rattle against that hard plastic, when you turn the radio up, it starts rattling, and it kind of ruins your radio listening experience until you figure out what's rattling and and deal with it, because it can be very annoying. So I would recommend, if they were to put little soft portions at the bottom of these little pockets in the door, since you have this shaker speaker in the door, then it'll help out with all that rattling. So maybe a felt lining or just a little rubber portion or something like that would be nice to have in these pockets in the door. There's a threshold. It has a power seat, but it doesn't have the full controls that you might think. It does have a 4-way lumbar adjustment here, and then this is a tilt the back, but this part doesn't go up or down. It only goes forward and back. So you can't adjust the height or the tilt of the seat, even though you have all these other adjustments like the 4-way lumbar adjustment. So something you might, at first glance, you might think, hey, that's a full power seat, but it actually is not completely. So here's that mocha color. As you can see here in these leather trim seats, it has that stitching. But you can see that color is really a nice color, but it's very desaturated brown, so it doesn't pop out or anything. It just is a really nice, easy on your eyes color, I think. These armrests can flip up out of the way if you're not using them. Kind of flip up and down. Plenty of legroom here in the front. Check it out. And the floor mat, I think the floor mats look really nice with this color. And here on the passenger side, they hook in place, so that way they're secured in 2 places, so that way they don't twist or slide on you. And check out all the legroom. Slight tapering here on the right side, but just generally wide open space there. There's a little bag holder here. The glove compartment is locking, and it's a pretty decent size, all smooth plastic on the inside. So this is a hard touch here. This is soft, kind of slightly soft here, and then it goes back to the hard touch. So there's a lot of hard touch surfaces, a lot more than I thought that was going to be in this vehicle. But it looks good. They're not like a reflective, shiny, cheap plastic looking hard touch. It does blend in quite nice. In addition to the wide open space of the floorboard and all that, it does have a really wide opening to get in and out of the vehicle. The doors do not go all the way down, so they only go to they cover most of the threshold, but there's still quite a bit of a portion there that can get dirty and get your clothes dirty. So if it went down a little bit more and just completely finished that gap, I think that would have been better. And the swing of the door is really nice too. So it's really easy to get in and out of the front seat, or front seats in general. So the sliding door, you can of course use the key, or you can just pull like that and it'll go ahead and open up for you. And you can see wide open space here as well. Getting in and out. You also have a handle here, which sometimes comes in handy when you're entering and exiting a vehicle, especially if you're scooting over to the other seat or whatever. So this is 3 separate seats. So you can see there's a far seat here. There's a center portion that's removable. And then this seat here, all these are removable actually, but there's 3 separate seats. Now, if you remove the center seat, you can slide either one of these seats towards the middle to allow more access to the third row if you need to. You know, if you're using the third row a lot or something like that, it does have that ability. Now, taking the seats in and out is a little bit of, like any other minivan. You will need to fiddle with them and find a place for them, and they're quite heavy. So even that center seat, you do need to, you need to wrestle with it a little bit to get it out. So keep that in mind as far as, taking the seats out all the time. If you're planning on that, you definitely want to, practice it a few times here at a dealership to make sure that's something that you want to contend with. The back of both front seats has a pocket here and on the other side. Plenty of legroom here in the second row. And there's a floor mat there, and the floor mat is hooked in place here on the second row. There's the center console actually, protrudes back here a little bit, so you can access these cup holders, and it's open underneath. So you can see it's mostly open here, so that way, allows more access to your feet or whatever. But it does give you the cup holders as well. So you can see there's 2 USB ports back here. They're just standard USB ports for charging. So there's the inside of the sliding door on that side. Now, there is a retractable shade that you can open and close. There is a, just a regular handle for opening up the door, power windows, door locks, place to put your phone, and a bottle holder and a little storage area there on the inside. There's a tap light up here, so you can turn that on. It may not turn on now that the vehicle's off, but it does have one. On this side, this is where you want to sit if you're sitting in the second row, because this has full access to the rear climate control. So you can adjust the fan speed, the temperature, where you want the air to blow, all that right here on the right side. So this is where you want to sit, so you can control that. Now, of course, the driver can control it as well, but when they're not controlling it, you have full control over it. And the vents are nice to have here on the sides. So when you want to close this door, you can use this button right here. So there's a button here that says close or open. It's just forward and back. Or to open and close the door, you can use this handle. So you just pull it forward like that. It's very simple. And it closes for you. Slow and steady. Here's the shade. So you can see the shade lifts up. And then it hooks there on the top. So in addition to the privacy glass, you do have the shade here as well. This is all like hard touch surfaces on the inside of this door. So all that. But the thing about hard touch surfaces, they're easier to clean typically. So, you know, if you got babies or kids back here and they're splattering stuff and it's making a mess, this is a very durable and easy to clean surface, the hard touch surfaces. Honda did include a little reflector sticker right here on the back of the door, so approaching vehicles can see that the door is open and possibly, you know, people getting out. Now, I think it'd be nice if it actually had a light instead of just a reflector. There's several ways to manipulate these seats. I mentioned before that you can slide the seat side to side. You can do that with this handle here. You just lift up and you slide the seat. If you want to release the seat and take the seat out of the vehicle, you use this latch. To fold the seat down, so just fold it down, use that center latch there. You see it's got pockets on the back of this seat. Once it's folded down, it's locked in place, so you will have to use two hands to lift it up. So release it and lift it up, like so. All right. Now to access the third row, you just take this and move it forward. It does two things. One is it tilts the top forward and it also releases the bottom. So now you can just take the seat and push it forward. And it's gonna lock in that place. So you can see this is your amount of space to get into the third row. Now, if you have a car seat in this seat, the best thing to do is to take the center seat out and slide this over, and then that way you can get to the third row. Because, you know, this is not going to do you much good if there's a car seat in place. So to push it back, though, you can just simply push it back. So it pulls forward, but this is not a permanent position. You can't drive around with it like this because it's not locked. So you push it back, and then you can lock it in place. You can also use this lever to recline the seat. So you can see I recline the seat a little bit. It's not like gonna like lay down all the way or anything, but it will give you the ability to articulate a little bit. The third row seat does have a little bit of space for leg room. So even with the second row all the way back, it does have a decent amount of leg room there. And the seat is not hugely too close to the floor, so you could put adults back here, 2 adults I would say. It does have a center place in which you can put a third person, but you know, use your discretion on that. Now on the left side, it has a 12-volt power supply, cup holders and stuff. On the other side, there's no 12-volt power supply, but it does have some cup holders and space to put some stuff. Would be nice to have some USB charge ports back here though. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, starting here at the top, it has a shark fin antenna that is a flat black right here. Then there's a rear spoiler with an LED third brake light integrated in it here at the top of the glass. Now the rear glass has the appearance of a wraparound effect, which is pretty cool. And the wiper is here at the bottom, so it will need to push up, you know, snow and ice in order to function. The backup camera is quite a bit offset, so it's right here as opposed to the middle, so it's a little bit of an offset there, and it kind of looks a little bit tacked on, not very integrated. It just kind of, it's just there as it like an afterthought type deal. So these down here are not lights, those are just reflectors. The tail lights and brake lights are LED, but the turn signal and reverse lights are standard bulbs. So it has a combination of LED and standard. The exhaust is pretty well hidden back here. Let's go ahead and open the power liftgate. Now you can of course use the key to do this, or you can just push the button here under the emblem. If you have all the seats occupied with the passengers, this is your cargo space. So it's goes in quite a bit. Goes all the way down there. And you have little bag holders on the back of the seats here, and here. And there's some storage space here on the side. There's a 12-volt power supply, subwoofer, and then a compartment here. Now in the back of the compartment is a little door, secret door. You can open that up, and that's where you find your funnel for your capless fuel system. So basically, it doesn't have a cap, but you will need that funnel to use a gas can. So that's what it's there for. But it's out of the way when you're not using it. But it's pretty neat to have a little secret compartment there, and you can put stuff in there if you want. On the left side, you have these little cubby holes. Pretty good size. All hard plastic on the inside. Don't forget about that, especially with the subwoofer. But it is pretty handy. Now, if you get the Honda vac, it takes up the space here. So if you want to vacuum back here, the little Honda vac, which is a pretty cool upgrade, it will take up these pockets. There is a little door, and this opens up, and you'll find some fuses in there. But generally, you won't have to access those, just to show you what's behind there. Now these seats, the second row is kind of a pain to get the seats out of the way. But the third row is so easy. It's very, very simple to put these seats out of the way. If you don't have anything in the cargo area, you just grab the strap and you just simply pull it. And that's it. Now it's in the floor. Now we have a almost flat floor back here for cargo. Same thing with this seat. Just grab the strap, pull it. This one is not so easy. You have to push it down a little bit, but it's the same principle. It goes right down. Almost no effort. Now we have a lot more cargo space. Now we, took away these seats, so now we don't have the same passenger space. But when we need to put something in here, it's real easy to add a significant amount of space back here. Now, of course, you can add one passenger. If you want a passenger and cargo space, you could do that. So lifting these up, lift it up, pull the strap, snap it in place. Now you have a passenger space here, and you have some cargo space added. Or you can have the other seat, whichever is convenient for you. So you can keep a car seat right in there, not even unhook it, and still add to your cargo space, which is nice. Now you're probably wondering where the spare tire is. You didn't see the spare tire under the vehicle, and you didn't see it in the back. It's actually under here. So under this carpet is another piece of carpet with insulation on it. Under that is a piece of plywood with press board on the outside. You take that out of the way, and then there is the spare tire and tools. So you will have to, kind of wrestle with that thing because it's in the center of the vehicle. So if you've got roadside assistance, you can let them do it. But that's where your spare tire and tools is located. To lower the power lift gate, there's a little button right here. You can just push that, and it'll come right on down. So it has a locking fuel door, and it's here on the driver's side. So it's locking, and it locks with the vehicle. So as I unlock the vehicle, go ahead and push the unlock button here on the key. Once I do that, make sure all the doors are unlocked, it also allows me access to the fuel door. And this is the capless design I was talking about. So you don't have to worry about getting your hands dirty, opening up a cap, place to put it, anything like that. You just put the nozzle in, pump the gas, and then you just close the door when you're done. Starting it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, it could be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's in a cup holder. As long as it's inside the vehicle, you push and hold the brake and push this button. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat hooks in place in two places, here and there, just like the other side. There's the accelerator and brake pedal. It also has a very nice large footrest here on the left side, which is really handy. Really nice to have, especially on a long trip. Get comfortable. Plenty of space over here as well. It's just wide open space, even there in the center. So you can see it has this open space here in the middle, so your knees aren't cramped or anything. It's really nice. Let's take a look under the hood. To raise the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the left of center. So here's the center line. You just reach in to the little bit to the left and move it to the right. So you lift up and to the right, and it releases the hood. Now the hood's relatively light, must be aluminum. There's the latch right there. You can see what it does. And so when you lift the hood up, it does require a prop to hold it up. There's the prop here. And it swings up, and there's actually two places to put it. First place is the one they want you to put it, right there where the arrow is pointing. But there's a second place that there's no arrow pointing to down here, which lifts the hood a little bit higher, so you have better access to the engine compartment. So we'll use that. Now that's what I'm talking about, having the hood that high up, out of the way. You're not gonna bump your head, and it just gives you full access. It allows more light in here and everything. So I like the way they have those two positions. So if you don't wanna have it so high, you can of course use the other part. Okay, so here's the engine compartment, and you notice there's a lot of plastic covering stuff up, but I'll kind of explain some of the stuff here. So there's strut towers here, right in here, as part of the suspension system, and they're braced in with the unibody structure of the vehicle. And Honda calls the way the vehicle is structured the ACE body structure. You can look into that. It's pretty interesting how they try to make the vehicle safer by the very design of the vehicle for impacts. So it's braced in to the unibody, but you can see it has a brace all the way across. So you can see like race cars and stuff, they always have these, there's a brace across those two strut towers to make it more sturdy, and this one has that same deal. There's insulation there on the firewall. There's also a little bit of heat shielding back there as well. So this is a front-wheel drive vehicle with a 6-cylinder. So the cylinders, this is the front of the engine, this is the back of the engine, and then there's 3 cylinders here and 3 cylinders there. So it's a V6, it's a V shape there. And of course there's a plastic cover covering most of it up. But your fresh air comes in here, and your exhaust is out of both sides. On the bottom of each head, there's an exhaust that goes down under the vehicle. Has electric fans there on the side, or front of the vehicle actually. The battery is located under this plastic cover. You can see the little positive post there. So it's relatively easy to get to once you get that plastic thing out of the way. That's for your intake. And the transmission is just below that battery. This vehicle is powered by a 3.5 liter V6, 280 horsepower with variable cylinder management, VCM, in which you can cut back on cylinders in order to, save fuel is what the idea is. So it's not running on all V6, 6 cylinders the whole time. Now this is paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. The inside of the driver's side doors is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So you can see it doesn't have that little pocket the other door had. It has the additional power windows here. So it's one touch up and down for the power windows, including the back doors. Now the back doors don't go all the way down. You can see the speed there. But it does one touch down, one touch up. There's also 2 presets that are connected also in addition to pushing the button, but also your key. So driver 1, driver 2, you can set it with a little button there. Just push and hold that and then select the one you want. Once you get everything set up, anyway. So the driver's seat one-ups the passenger as far as controls because it looks the same. The only difference is this one has the ability to raise and lower and tilt the seat, unlike the passenger seat. So it still has the 4-way lumbar adjustment and all that stuff. It just has those additional movements that you can adjust. To the left of the steering column, there's a few buttons here. And so down here, there's a brake hold feature. This will hold the brakes when you stop, to come to a complete stop. So if you don't want to hold your brake while you're sitting in traffic or whatever, if this is enabled, when you come to a complete stop, it will hold the brake for you until you push the accelerator. There's also electronic parking brake here. The ability to open and close the side doors, the power sliding doors here. You can turn that feature off. So you have on or off, just in case you don't want kids playing around with it. There's the ability to open up the power liftgate. This is kind of like a quick shortcut on the screen up there to get to your safety features. And this is your traction control. Default is on, but you can turn it off by pushing that button. And you can see there's some blank spaces for additional buttons here as well. There's also a tilt and a telescoping steering column. You lock it in place here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I have the driver's seat all the way down and all the way back to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. I'm 6 feet tall and got plenty of knee room and leg room, so I probably would have it right here almost all the way back, if not, yeah, probably all the way back. My left foot is, the angle of my left foot is good on the footrest. I can reach both pedals with no problem. So yeah, but plenty of room here. It's just there's not a lot of extra room. So like say if you're 6'5" or taller, then you definitely want to get in this vehicle and make sure it's going to work for you. But there is just overall a lot of room in general. So the steering wheel is a leather wrap steering wheel, good thickness. It's not super soft, but it does give a little bit. It's just a completely round steering wheel, no flat bottom or bolsters or anything like that, just very conservative look. So here on the right side is the cruise control. So it's an adaptive cruise control system. So you have the ability to, turn it on, set, resume, cancel, like a normal cruise control system that most people are familiar with. But it also has the ability to set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you when the adaptive cruise control system is activated. So if there's a vehicle in front of you that's going slower than your set speed, it'll slow you down, but this adjusts the distance between you and that vehicle using the radar adaptive cruise control system. You also have the lane keep assist system, in which you could turn on or off here, and it'll actually turn the steering wheel a little bit and try to keep you somewhat in the center of the lane. Now Honda does a pretty good job as well as far as it not being too intrusive on your driving, but it's not like going to drive for you or anything. On the left side of the steering wheel, you can see a volume for your radios there, so up and down. Your Bluetooth control is here, so you can answer, hang up on calls once you pair a phone, and also have you can use this as your voice recognition to say make a call. So like call whoever's saved in your phone book, that kind of thing. Or you can spell out the number, the exact number, So this home button, these arrows and this back button correspond with the screen between the gauges. We'll get to that in just a minute. You also, this left and right, this gives you the ability to change through radio stations or audio tracks depending on what you're playing in your audio source, so you can use those in that way as well. So there's paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel. I don't know if you can see that, but they're attached to the steering wheel, so they turn with it, and this gives you the ability to downshift or whatever, just in case you need some engine braking. Front and rear windshield wiper controls are here on the right side. It does have intermittent in both the front and the back. On the left side is your turn signal, of course, but it also has your headlights. So you have off, parking, automatic, and then your headlights there. Your fog lights are controlled here. Okay, so here's your gauges. And a little bit of a non-traditional look. And you have a physical gauge here for your engine coolant temperature. There's a physical gauge on the right side for your fuel gauge. You can notice this vehicle needs gas. There's a little dial right here for you adjust your brightness of your gauges. Right here in the center, you can see this is actually a screen. So that screen, you remember these buttons here, the home button, these arrows, and then the enter and the back button. We're going to use those, and you see there is a digital speedometer there in the center. At the very top is your RPMs, your tachometer, and it shows your outside temperature, your odometer, whether your cruise control is on, that kind of thing, what gear you're in. It has those basic information. You just got to know where to look for them. So your gear, your temp, your speedometer, that kind of thing. So if we push the home button on the steering wheel, this information pops up here. So right now, before I had it set to just a blank screen. So now you see things are popping up. So scrolling down, as you can see, there's different options here. So that's where we could choose the blank screen. Push the home button again to pop it back up. We can get information here. We can also have show and hide apps, so the particular ones we want we can have here, or we can deselect the ones that we don't want to use. So we can select ones we'll use. So if we have an Android Auto, Android phone, we use that app quite regularly, we can check that and it'll give us quick access to it here. And if we don't use Apple CarPlay, we can just leave it blank, that kind of thing. So we have all these different options as far as, you know, if we use our USB, our auxiliary, our Bluetooth, all these that we can make selections. Also a social playlist. I'll explain that when we get to the radio. So let's get back out of that. So you can see now this whole part is all customizable. At first glance you might not know that, but what is here is selected by you for the most part. You also have a trip computer here, and accidentally pushed the right button. So right in here you can press and hold the enter to switch between A and B. So you have two independently resettable trip computers. It shows the distance, the average fuel, and the range. Alright, phone, this is whatever your phone's like. If you have this up, then like it'll have when somebody calls you, or it's like caller ID, that kind of information if you want that. This is handy if you're like, you know, waiting for a call type thing. Now playing just shows you whatever your radio is doing will pop up there. Maintenance, this shows your tire pressure. It also tells you your oil life, when you need to change your oil. All right. Safety support. So we saw the button over here. That button basically is the same thing. It pops up this information here. And so we have our lane keep assist information, blind spot information, collision mitigation. We can turn those on or off here if we'd like. Now, the collision mitigation braking system, my experience with Honda is that this is overly sensitive. So, you know, depending on your situation, your driving style, and all that stuff. So you just keep an idea. If the vehicle just slams on the brakes because it thinks you're going to have a collision or whatever, even though you're not, you know, just keep that in mind. That's what's going on. All right. Then you can go in your settings here, and you can arrange the apps. So if you want one over the other, that kind of thing. Also, if you want to have the tachometer, which we have now, but if we want to take that away, if we just don't want that there, it's just cleaner, and without the tachometer, we can do that if we want. and then we can change your units there to kilometers per hour. And then there's, of course, the blank screen if we want that. So there's kind of some basic information there. You don't have to go into all that stuff. It's just there in case you want it or need it. And it's all accessible with the steering wheel controls and there between, you know, your gauges. But just in general, it is a relatively, you know, simple design. It's a little bit non-traditional. Now you see that little white light there at the top and here on the sides. That will actually, it'll turn green when you're driving in a fuel efficient way. When you're not, you're like flooring it or whatever, it'll go turn white. So it kind of like lets you know where the optimal fuel economy range of the engine is as you drive. So if you're really into sipping fuel, you can pay attention to that light and it'll let you know if you're doing well or not. Alright, so here's our touchscreen. So you notice the touchscreen has a physical volume knob next to it, and then you have these soft touch buttons there on the side. So showing the clock right now, we can push the home button and it takes us to this screen here. And it's just like a cell phone where you have these different apps, different ability to, you can rearrange this, add or subtract from this. But these are the main features of the vehicle as far as the radio screen here. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you will need to have the appropriate device connected and all that stuff. And it does have a trip computer, you know, FM, AM, your phone. You can go into settings and just set up the vehicle. Once you set up the vehicle, you don't really have to go in here unless you want to change a particular thing. So it's good to go ahead and have it fully set up when you first get the vehicle, and then you don't have to worry about it so much. Satellite radio, auxiliary input, USB, social playlist. This is pretty interesting. If you have multiple phones in the vehicle and you pair them, then people can add a particular song or to play next in the social playlist. So if like everybody picks a song and everybody can, like a jukebox type thing, then everybody picks a song and it'll go through and play that social playlist based on the people's selections on their devices. I think that's pretty fun and kind of interactive. Maybe fun to do because nobody knows what you're going to play and all of a sudden it plays. So that's pretty neat. My Honda Music. So this is where you will need to connect your device using USB, and there's Honda has apps that you can use to interact with the vehicle and get information about the vehicle and that kind of thing. So I don't have it connected right now, but this is a feature that you can use if you want to play around with that. The clock, we saw that. We can change the clock face if we want. Keeps wanting to go into that. Let's go back to the clock. Let's go to the settings. We can change the clock faces to whatever one we want. So we saw a little robot guy. So we want to have this, we can have that. So now we have that on the clock. Alright. And a Honda Link, that's the app I was talking about as far as your cell phone. You can go to all apps and you can choose the ones you want. Calculator, you definitely need that. You can choose the ones that you want. This is kind of like a choose the ones like a cell phone, like I mentioned, Android system basically. You can choose the ones you want or you don't want. But you gotta have the calculator. Now if we push this button right here, it's going to pop up on the screen your climate control. So your where you want the air to blow, your fan speed, all that information is here. Now this has a tri-zone, driver, passenger, and rear climate, in which you can control the rear climate by pushing that button. Front, and you can sync all of them by pushing that button. So now we're getting into actual physical buttons down here. So front and rear climate control, front and rear defrosters. When we put the rear defrosters on, it also turns the heated side mirrors on as well. your fan speed. You can put on automatic, that kind of thing. You adjust your temperatures here and here. So right now they're synced, but you can see they're adjustable. Now the seats are heated here in the front. It's a 3-stage, high, medium, and low, and off. Same thing on the passenger side, 3-stage. So you're probably wondering what these buttons are. That's your shifter. We'll get to that in just a minute. So this has the auto stop start feature, or idle stop, which will turn the vehicle off when you come to a complete stop. If you want to turn that off, you just push this button when you get in. It'll turn that feature off. Snow mode, of course, this will help you maintain traction in snow. So if you're not really good at driving in snow, then you probably want to have that on. Or just in general, it just kind of helps out with smoothing out your motion so that you can maintain traction. Eco mode, this is intended to save, better fuel economy. That's what it's designed for. I haven't had any experience with it actually doing anything as far as saving fuel, but it could be my particular driving style or whatever. 4-way flashers are here. Okay, so getting into the shifter, this is park, this is reverse, neutral, and drive, and if you push drive again, it goes to a sport mode. So I'm going to hold the brake right now. I'm going to put it in reverse by pulling back. At any time, we can just put it in park. So when we put it in reverse, it's going to pop up the backup camera. And the camera has active guidelines, so as I turn the steering wheel, it has the little guidelines there. You can change the view, super wide, more linear, or a top-down view. Super wide is really handy for seeing if there's a vehicle coming from either direction. It's just really highly distorted. But if you have it in this regular, more linear view, you do have the rear cross traffic alert system, which you can turn on or off here. That's part of the blind spot detection system. So if you're backing out of a parking spot, it will let you know if there's a vehicle coming from either side if you can't see them. But the super wide view also gives you the ability to see what's going on. You just have to get used to that distorted wide angle view, but it is very useful to see what's behind you and coming from either side type deal. Okay, so there's neutral, and then there's drive. Push this again, it'll go into sport mode. Now you'll know what gear you're in because it'll show up here. So there's S, there's D, there's neutral, there's reverse, and then park. Now if you turn the vehicle off, let's say we have it in drive, and we just turn the vehicle off, it'll just automatically put it in park. Down here is a little storage compartment, so you can put some stuff. Hard plastic on the inside, so it could rattle whatever's in there. But it is nice, handy little pocket there. And just want to point this out. When you slide it out, it locks. It has like this little locking spot that doesn't slide easy. You kind of have to, once you get it past that spot, it'll slide back in. And then once it's in, it'll lock in place, and it has a little, you have to pull this in order to unlock it. So it's not going to be sliding around on you. So if you want to have it all the way out like there, you can just leave it like that, and it will not slide in and out on you and cause a problem. There's a USB charge port, but this is also where you connect your devices for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. There's your 12-volt power supply there on the right side. A nice big wide open space right in here for putting something. It'd be nice if you're carrying a bag or something, this will be a good place to put it. And it kind of goes in there a little ways, quite a ways in there, so it's pretty big. I don't know if you can see that, but nice wide open spot there. It's good to have open space. Open space is always usable. When it's filled up, of course, it's not usable. All right, so there's cup holders. Now you'd notice all the cup holders in the door and right here and in the back, all of them are just open. there's no articulating arms or foam inserts or anything like that. So if you put a cup there, unless it fits perfectly, it's going to wobble around. If you put a bottle of water there, unless it fits perfectly, it's going to wobble around. And also hard touch surfaces here. And it's open in the middle for handles, but also to utilize the space for other things besides cups. Now this is a little place to put your cell phone or whatever, which is nice, and it's rubberized as this rubber surface. This is a really nice surface to put on the inside of all these pockets and stuff right here, because if you put your cell phone here, you're driving around, it's not going to slide around so much because it's very grippy and it has a rubbery texture. So that would be nice, a nice spot right there to have that, and have that same material in all the rest of the areas. Now this slides back like so. You can utilize this as a spot to put some stuff here, there, all that stuff, but this slides back. And it has these little places for wires to go in and out of this compartment here. So you even has these little keepers right here and here, which is cool. All right, and the reason why is because it has USB and auxiliary inputs here. So it's auxiliary input, and then the USB, and then there's a compartment here as well. Now the compartment has the rubber bottom in it, and there's a little spot back here as well. So you can put some quick access stuff there, and then basically this is like the junk drawer of the vehicle. You just like throw it down in there and it accumulates. You have to clean it out. But anyways, it's nice and handy to have a place to put just stuff out of your way. And the cup holders back here, the ones that the rear passengers can use, it also has the ability for front passengers to reach it as well. So these little armrests that kind of can get them out of the way. The thing about these armrests is they're adjustable. So if you put it all the way up, it resets. But you could put it all the way down, and then you lift it up a little bit, and then it'll stay there. Lift it up a little bit more, it'll stay there. So you can put it right where you want it, basically. You just have to lift it up and get it out of your way sometimes to access this area. All right, the rearview mirror, it's an auto dim rearview mirror. And it's actually auto dimming right now because I have the shade over the light sensor, which is here on the right side. Home and link garage door opener controls are here on the bottom. You can turn the auto dim feature on or off by pushing that button. Some tap lights, that's pretty plain lights there. And a place to put some shades. It also has a conversation mirror so you can keep an eye on the rear passengers. The interior lights you can turn on by pushing it down this little switch here, off by putting it right in that position, or in the center position, it'll be they'll turn on with the door basically. This little ambient light that shows up here at nighttime kind of helps out with the illumination in the center of the vehicle. And this is for your sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. Now the visors in the headliner is like a cloth gray material. And it kind of brightens it up having that bright material instead of like black or something. The visors have lights and a mirror. They're pretty good size. They don't extend out or anything. They do have pretty decent coverage actually. This part articulates a little bit. Basically the same thing on the other side as far as the visor. The sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light. So as we move that back, you have to move it manually. We have the buttons right here to adjust, so we can tilt it up, tilt it down, or we can slide it back. Push it again, nothing happens as far as it goes. Okay, so let's look at the visibility in the back. So you can see I have one of the seats up and one of the seats down in the third row, but it really depends on your passenger and cargo, what's in the vehicle as far as your your visibility, because if you're just driving like this, it's not a big deal. There's lots of windows back here. You can see pretty much everywhere. It's not a huge deal, especially considering you got the camera system, the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, all that stuff. But the thing is, if you have a lot of passengers back here, it will limit your visibility, and you know, you'll have to adapt to that. Okay, there you have it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to East Coast Honda here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'll leave their contact information in the description. They're a good dealership. I do not work for them, but they are a good dealership. I do enjoy coming here and doing videos. So anyways, you can contact them if you want to buy the vehicle. They can ship anywhere in the United States from what I understand. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.